Hello, everyone. My name is Reverend Penelope Stewart. Welcome, new subscribers. Thank you, subscriber, for following us. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I said in the last video that I would come here and talk about retrograde. If you saw my Know Thyself video, and I didn't mention it in there, and that's for a good reason. I wanted to talk a little bit more about my experience coming with this retrograde and working the program and what my guides, high power ancestors have shared with me, because I'm still healing. I've used, if any of you follow me, I'm into psychology, I'm into shamanism, I'm into visualization, path working. That's what I'm into. So let's talk about a little bit about the retrogrades. The retrogrades, the meaning. This is when some of the planets appear to go backwards in a backwards, affecting the constellation. And each constellation represents a zodiac sign. Okay? So, in each zodiac sign, which are some of us, can be affected by these retrogrades that's going through our constellation. This is the way I understand it. This is the way I'm going to explain it. And those constellate, and as those planets go backwards, and retrograde means degenerate. Means a degenerate or to go backwards. What I've noticed in those retrogrades, in my experience, a lot of those impulses come up. A lot of those memories and reflections that we have not dealt with, traumas, some of those things, impulses begin to come up as the planets go into a retrograde. What I've experienced, having the Know Thyself program have helped me deal with some of those impulses when they do come up. Because they have been coming up, like in my psyche. You're thinking, pay attention. That's why I said pay attention to your thoughts, your emotions. Because had I not been working the program, I would have gave in to some of those impulses. Because I know myself, because I know my rhythm, and I keep up with what's going on with me, really questioning my actions, my reactions and triggers, I'm able to control a lot of those impulses, because we all have them. Okay, so and what I've seen too come up in some of these readings that I've been having. I do a lot of readings. In these retrogrades, I'm seeing a lot of relationship dynamics and things pop up with people. Each retrograde brings something different. It may be our finances. It may be our relationships. It may be any series of things that really have an impact on how we perceive things, our perception of things. So when you know your sign, your darker parts of yourself. Because I've looked at the darker parts of myself, and yeah, it's scary, but I have to love myself and accept this is happening to me, and love myself throughout the process, because I know what's going on with me. I don't have to, have all these bad thoughts about myself, because all these impulses and stuff come up. I know how to use them. I know how to control them, because now I'm aware of them. I don't let these thoughts or impulses control me. I control them. I choose how I want to channel out that information. Okay? And like I said, had I not, and now that I'm so aware of my psychology and how I think and what's affecting me and what traumas recycle themselves as I need to heal. Now that I understand more about what I'm watching and the things that life is not happening to me, I am doing this healing on my own. Everything is a reflection of me. So what I have learned is to when you face the confrontation, because that's what that psychology is all about. When you face that confrontation, if you did the inner work to deal with it, you won't have, those problems will start to dissipate. You begin to refine yourself instead of being susceptible to all these different energies. I call them energies. Many people describe this in so many different ways, but I am describing it from my experience and what I am learning as I heal. How these retrogrades has really, I've been really paying attention and seeing how they really do have an effect on our psychology. They have an effect on our relationships. Oh, I've seen a lot of relationships, whoa, just blow up, and they were being recycled. Some of this stuff were being recycled, going back to old lovers staying in unhealthy relationship, and the issue comes back up again. So you've seen a lot of that going on during that time, and still right now today, depending upon the zodiac sign. Depending upon the zodiac sign, you're going to be experiencing, and it's out there. The information is out there. This is nothing that is new, because I'm always keeping track. I'm not an astrologist. I don't do astrology, but I do keep up with really good astrologers. I go online and I do my little research, and there's some good astrologers out there. That's very accurate. Astrology, if you know what you're doing, it's pretty accurate anyway. Okay, but I also see it too. Come up in a lot of my reading. A lot of astrology do come up in my reading. So pay attention, to yourself. And let me talk a little bit about the dark part of yourself. Some of us have. How you can transform those darker parts of yourself. By accepting it. And if you truly don't like it, this impulse or whatever, you can start trying to gain more control of it, since you're aware of it. We're dealing with your awareness now. Once you're aware of it, you can start trying to control some of it. If it takes therapy, do that. Do whatever it takes to get your psychology, your impulses, the darker parts of yourself under control. No one is saying to deny those darker parts of yourself. What we are saying is get them under control so they don't affect your relationships and spill out into your life and just ooze out. There are other ways to channel those things. We're all human. All of these are coming up in our sight. We are part of something, of the entire universe. We have these animalistic qualities since we're born in this physical body. We have some of these animalistic qualities since we have this brain. We come with so much more. When we were in our spirit body, we didn't have to worry about that. But now that we're in these physical bodies, we have to control so many more impulses. That just comes with the package when we choose. And I know it's awful, because when I deal with some of my impulses, I get so upset with myself. I'm just like this is really not part of my true nature to have these impulses. It's a realization that comes in with me. It's just like, okay, this is not even part of you. But because you're born in this physical body and you having this experience, this one-dimensional experience, it has an impact on my emotional well-being. I'm aware of that. When these triggers do come up. And I wasn't aware of that at first. I can say I self-examine myself a lot more. That's what the Know Thyself self has done. It's almost like I stand outside myself and, okay, I examine my emotions immediately. And I'm just like, okay, what is going on with you? Why are you tripping? What's going on? What's the deeper issue with you? And that's how I do. You can call it your higher self. You can call it whatever you want. But once you start doing these things and start questioning your psychology and getting yourself under control, really getting your focus off what another person has said to you to make you angry. Because the thing of it is, why did you let it make you angry? Because that's the thing I ask myself too. Why did you let that piss you off like that? Why did you let that destroy your peace? Because the ideal too is to have that inner peace. Is to have that inner peace. You know, when you have that inner peace, nothing can disrupt it. Nobody can make you mad, say, or do anything. And I know that's hard, but that's called strength as well. That's another form of mental strength. It's keeping your inner peace. And that's what the program is like too, is maintaining that inner peace and not allowing anyone to disrupt it. Knowing who you are, knowing your value, knowing your self-worth. I've learned how to just walk away and not say anything because I don't have to explain myself. It's just no. You know, it's just no. I shouldn't have to explain why I don't want to do something. You know, I shouldn't have to do that. It's just had a different, it's just made me look at myself so much more different. Even the darker aspects of myself that I didn't like. The more I study about, I could say, let's talk about what you call those people. Let's talk about martial arts and some of the ninjas or whatever you want to call them that had to have their self-discipline and know when to protect themselves and know when to control that urge to want to. It's because that comes with something. When you go out and you start hurting someone, you can call it PTSD. You know, you have to learn how to control your mind and not take your mind back to those moments. So just imagine the type of discipline they had to have, just working with that when they were using that self-discipline to not to react to things like that anymore because they're not in that environment. And it takes a lot, and that's what I'm dealing with. That is what a lot of what my psychologist is dealing with as well. So I self-examine. It's like it's like an inner counsel. Your higher mind begins to speak to you. And if you don't have this during the retrograde, in my experience, when I didn't have this knowledge during the retrograde, I was reacting on all those impulses. I really was. I was just letting it take total control of me. All the genetic energy patterns that I was not aware of. Then plus my own zodiac sign with its dark, it got its dark side too, acting out on me as well. So I was like the darker aspect of a Sagittarius. And now I am the centaur that's on the lighter side. If you ever heard that story about the centaur and how this centaur broke his genetic energy patterns and had to separate himself away from his family, that story reminds me so much of my story. And that's the story of, that's really my story, So if you want to check that out, go look that up, the story of the centaur. But I thought I would come here and share this with you if you're in the retrogrades right now. And you don't know what to do. You don't know what's going on. You're reacting. These are things that's recycling them things that's in your life cycle. You know what I'm saying? It's in your life cycle. You can stop reacting to it and start responding to it. You can choose how to respond. Right now, you're just impulsively reacting, not thinking things through. And sometimes doing nothing is doing something. I've learned a lot in this retrograde and personally how it affects me. And seeing it play out in some of my clients' lives. And the information I'm able to give them to help navigate the retrograde, So, and that's important too. So if you're going through a retrograde, look up your zodiac sign, look up that retrograde, how it will affect your zodiac sign, and get yourself mentally prepared to ride it. Because we have a choice. We don't have to have the retrograde have an effect on us and an impact, blow our life all up. We can be psychologically ready spiritually ready and mentally ready, emotionally ready when these retrogrades come up. You can plan events, you can plan little rituals, you can do little things that'll help you navigate the retrograde. So don't let the retrograde happen to you. Stay aware of that. Like I said, look up if we're in a retrograde and how it would affect your zodiac sign, and mentally prepare for the things that might happen. It may not happen. If you've already did the healing on it, it may not come up again. But you can already get yourself prepared. Knowing these things, to me, it's really helped me prepare me for it and really examine my thinking when I do have triggers. I can be like, okay, this is the retrograde because I haven't dealt with this right here. So what you gonna do, Penny? You gonna respond the same way you've been responding, or you just gonna chill? So it's made it a lot better. So I hope this video helped you. Like I said, I told you I would come here and talk about the retrograde, and I thought I'd put my experience in there as well, because I'm seeing it with other people, and it's playing a little bit out in my life too. And if you did a little research on it, if you didn't know anything about it, then you do the research now, you'll be like, oh, this is what's going on with my life. And that's usually how when you get into the astrology, start looking at your life, you'll start seeing the similarities. Okay? But thank you for being here today with me. Light and love, may the ancestors be with you.